talking about what you can expect when a dog is in season, or when a female dog is in season or in her heat cycle. So we're going to be talking all about that, and please know that I am not a veterinarian and I am not a breeder. So this is just coming from me, who, you know, is just a regular person who has done a lot of research. Also, you know, research online, research with talks with my veterinarian, and also several talks with different breeders that are friends of mine who have been in the dog world for many, many years. So this comes kind of from all over, but I wanted to share with you guys what I know on heat cycles for female dogs. So the first thing that I do want to tell you, or maybe this is the second thing because I think I said the first thing anyway. For those of you who have not seen my previous video on my thoughts on spaying and neutering, I am choosing to wait to spay Stassi and Harper until they are much older. Now, this is a personal decision, and I realize that this is not a decision for everyone, but in my research, I feel much more comfortable spaying the girls when they are much, much older. My girls do not come into any contact with male dogs at all, so there is no risk of them getting pregnant. So for health reasons, I believe that keeping their parts intact for as long as possible will be healthier for them. So that's what I'm choosing to do. Harper is 3 years old, and I will probably get her spayed somewhere between the 4 and the 5-year-old mark. When her risk for pyometra gets higher, you know, that is an infection of the uterus, and if it wouldn't be for that, I wouldn't spay her at all. But as a female dog gets older, into her older years, after 5 years old, their risk for pyometra does increase. So only because of that will I be spaying Harper and Stassi when they get, you know, to that age, 5 years or something like that. In the meantime, we do have heat cycles with the girls, except Stassi has not come into heat yet. She will be 1 year old in just a couple of weeks. It is the beginning of May, and she turns 1 on May 17th. So she has not come into season yet, and I'm expecting it any time now. So I will give you my experiences on Harper and what we go through with her seasons, and then hopefully, you know, we will have the same experiences with Stassi. Now, a female dog can come into season anywhere from about 8 months to 14 months. It just depends on the particular line and the breed as to when they come into season. Now, this is why a lot of traditional veterinarians recommend spaying at 6 months, because they don't want owners to, you know, have accidental pregnancies, and so they just say, you know, spay before the first heat, before 6 months. I don't agree with that. I think that is way too early. Anyway, even if you are getting, you know, even if you are wanting to spay your dog, I still think that 6 months is way too early. But it's a personal decision, and I respect everyone's decision on this. I can just tell you my views. So with that being said, Stassi has not come into heat yet, and I spoke with her breeder, and her breeder said that with her line, they're usually coming in after 12 months. So it should be any time now. So we are getting prepared for her first season. Now, how does that go? If you've ever had, or if you've never had a dog in season before, I will tell you the things to look for to know that your female is in season. Probably the first thing that you're going to recognize is that the vulva does tend to enlarge. So if you're looking down at her little private parts, that vulva does get pretty enlarged. I'm gonna put her down because she's getting hot. I hold her and she gets really hot sometimes. So we're just gonna put her right here so that she doesn't get hot. You know, she's got a lot of fur on her, so she gets warm. There we go. Okay, now I can get a little bit more close and personal with you. So, the first thing that you may notice is the swelling of the vulva. And that's usually the first sign that I can tell, like, oh, here comes the heat, or here comes the season. And that's a normal process. It does get very enlarged, and you know, it kind of looks a little funny, but that's a sure sign to tell that your female is in heat. Now, right when that happens, you will usually start to see a little bit of blood, and it's usually a red color. And then as the season progresses, that color gets lighter and lighter, almost to like a straw color. So it's kind of like a yellowy red with a red tinge to it. And they call that the straw coloring. That's actually the time when your female will be most attractive to males. However, the minute you know that your female is in heat, you need to make sure you are very, very diligent in keeping her inside at all times. And when you go outside, make sure you have her on a leash at all times. Males can get very, very creative when it comes to a female in heat. And I have heard of instances where they have bred through a fence, they have crawled over a fence, under a fence to get to that female in heat. When your female is in heat, she will be attracted to all the boys in the neighborhood, and they will come searching her out. So it is very important that you make sure that you do not leave your female unattended for even 1 second while she is in heat. And this, you know, is very important because we all know the overpopulation of pets that we have in the United States, and we don't need to, you know, add to that problem at all. So please, 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 if you are going to keep your female intact, please be responsible and watch your female at all times. Now, how long does the season last? A season in a dog, or a heat season in a dog, lasts about 3 weeks. It can be as short as about 10 days or as long as 1 month, but generally it lasts about 3 weeks. As far as the messiness of it, I really have not had any problems with it being too terribly messy. Dogs tend to keep their, and I'm gonna say dogs, you know, because I'm not gonna say bitches. I'm not a breeder. So, you know, breeders use the term bitch all the time freely. And I have no problem with that at all. I have many, many, many dog breeder friends, and I have no problem with it. I'm just not used to saying that because I'm not a dog breeder. But you know that when I say dog, I mean a bitch or a female dog. So let's just get that straight. And now I lost my train of thought. Where was I? I'm gonna have to start over. Okay, so let's talk about the messiness of it. I personally have had quite a few female dogs that have been in heat, you know, over the past 15 years or so, and it really has not been too terrible of a messy problem at all. Female dogs do keep themselves very, very clean usually by licking themselves. I know this is gross, but this is what they do. So that is another sign that your dog is going to be going into heat or is in heat. If you see her licking herself constantly, check her vulva. You'll probably see that it is swollen, and that is a sign that she is in heat. So that's their way of keeping themselves clean, and they do a pretty, I'm pretty sure most female dogs are like this. In my experience, they keep themselves pretty clean. Now, occasionally you will find a drop of blood here or there, but it hasn't been an issue for us at all. The only time it is ever an issue is at nighttime when they're sleeping in bed with you. You will have, you know, some blood on the sheets if you don't use a doggy diaper. And that's because most of the time they're sleeping, so they're not licking themselves, so it comes out. So it's important, if you want to keep your sheets clean, which of course if you're lying in the bed with them, you want to keep your sheets clean, that you use a doggy diaper. Now I brought one of Harper's doggy diapers for me to show you. This is what one of her doggy diapers look like. And it is made by a company or a lady on Etsy called Bright Rose Creations. And I will show you the tag on the little diaper. So this is Harper's little Minnie Mouse diaper, and as you can see, it just velcros around. So this part will go on her back, and then it comes around and it velcros around her like this. It does have a cutout here for the tail, so her tail will stick out here, and then this goes on the belly. The inside of the doggy diaper is just lined like with a soft, like flannel material, very, very soft. And then what I do is I just stick a woman's sanitary napkin in here so that I'm not constantly washing these. And that really like does the job. It saves everything because everything pretty much goes on the pad, and then, you know, that'll save your doggy diaper. Now, because my girls potty on potty pads inside, they only wear, or I say they, but Stassi will be in that they category soon, but they will only wear these diapers when they are in bed with us. So at nighttime when we're watching TV in bed, or when they go to sleep. Stassi doesn't sleep with us, but Harper sleeps with our son, and he will put this diaper on her when she's in heat so that his sheets don't get all messy. But we can't have these on them when they are just out and about and running around the house, because they will pee in them because they have to go to their potty pads and pee. But if your dog goes outside to potty, then you can put this on them, you know, all the time when they're inside, and then you won't have to worry about any mess. But it works really, really well. Now I do want to mention, there goes an ambulance. I do want to mention that this is not meant to prevent pregnancy. If your female is going to be around any kind of males at all, please still be diligent about watching her and having her on a leash if she's in an area where you're outdoors, because males, like I said, can get very creative and they can get around this little thing. So this is really, really, really nice. I just ordered some for Stassi, and her wait time is over 4 weeks. So if you have a female dog that you are going to need some diapers, I would recommend, if you are going to go with this lady here, and I will leave the link to her Etsy shop in the description box below, make sure you order them well in advance of when the time you need them, because she is a one-woman seamstress. She's also a veterinarian, so she does this on the side, and it does take her quite a while to get your order to you. And from what I was reading, some of the other sellers do have that same kind of wait time as well. So I wanted to wait and do this video when I got Stassi's diapers in so that I could show you the cute prints that I bought, but I didn't want to wait a whole month to do the video. So you'll just have to know that this is what they look like, and Harper's has the little Minnie Mouse on hers. So this is what she wears during the day. I mean, not during the day. This is what she wears at night or anytime we are in the bed watching TV and she just needs to be protected, or my sheets need to be protected. Now, what am I going to do with Stassi when Stassi goes into heat? Because I am so worried about that. So I went to my show breeder friends and I was like, what do you guys do when you have a female in long coat and they come into heat? Because I can imagine that can get a little bit messy. So what they have told me that they do is they take the hair on the back haunches, like right, you know, you have your tail in the middle and then you have the two legs and then you have the hair on the, what they call the haunches. And they rubber band those two areas together. And I am going to use the soft ponytails, the little soft ones that you can get like at, the little fuzzy ones. And you can get those like at Walmart or something. And I'm gonna use that to band the hair on the back of Stassi's legs. And that came from a recommendation from a show breeder friend of mine. And she said those work really well. So that will kind of get that hair out of the way and give her access to be able to lick herself if she needs to lick herself and keep herself clean, as well as to keep that hair kind of free and clear. She will still be able to go potty, you know, on her potty pads, and it shouldn't affect anything like that. So the next thing I want to tell you guys is what kind of behavior can you expect with your female in heat? I will tell you that they usually do pee-pee a whole lot more, so you will notice them urinating a lot more. Sometimes I have heard that females can have a little bit of aggression when they are in heat. I have not had that experience. Harper, you know, was just in heat. She just is coming out of her heat cycle. And her and Stassi got along fine. I never noticed anything. I was waiting for Stassi to get thrown into heat because, like teenage girls, a lot of times when one comes into heat, the other one will come into heat. But she didn't. So I'm still waiting for that. So there was no aggression, but just know that if you have two female dogs, or if you have a female and a male, hopefully the male is neutered. If you have a female that is in heat, there could be a little bit of aggression there. You could notice your girl lifting her tail up and going, like backing up, kind of inviting another dog, whether it be female or male, a cat, anything. They don't care. They get quite horny and they will back up and lift that tail up, and they call that flagging. Again, Harper doesn't do that. I don't know why she doesn't do that, but she doesn't do that. So it's not all dogs, all female dogs do that, but it is very common for them to do that. So you could see some of that behavior. You could see some humping. Again, Harper, you know, doesn't hump, and she's just perfect. No, really, watch, this one's gonna be the Hellcat. But you could see that humping behavior, but she doesn't do that. Now, what she does do, and this is very common as well, is she gets very, very needy. So behavioral changes are very common. They can get really moody and bitchy, you know, kind of like a woman PMSing. Or they can get just very needy, very affectionate. And that is what Harper does. She's already a needy cavalier already. She always wants to be on you, with you, you know, on your lap, in your face. She's just like that. And when she is in heat, she is that 10 times over. She will whine to get in your lap. She's not happy unless she's like right here. So she does get very, very needy. You might see some increased thirst, and that's probably because they're pee-peeing a whole lot more, and so they tend to drink a little bit more. And that's about it as far as, you know, changes that you will see. So I think this pretty much covers everything. Like I said, females usually come in heat somewhere between 8 months to a year. That heat cycle lasts on average about 3 weeks. You need to watch your female while she is in heat the entire time that she is in heat, and so that entire 3 weeks. And I believe the time frame where everything kind of goes back to normal is about 60 days. Now, she won't be attracted to males, and males won't be attracted to her those whole 60 days. But for everything to like go from the beginning to the very end of everything, meaning hormonal wise, is about 60 days. Now, one thing or two things actually that I wanted to mention that you will have to watch out for if you have an intact female. The first thing is false pregnancies. This is something that can happen, so just be aware that this can happen. It is normal. You might get some like mammary enlargement, and you might, her body might think that she's pregnant, but so that is a possibility, and it is quote unquote normal. And the big thing that you need to make sure that you watch out for if you have an intact female is about 6 weeks or so after the heat cycle. So make sure you track it. Make sure you keep track of when your female went into heat. If your female starts to act sick, if she gets lethargic, if she doesn't want to eat, get her to the vet immediately. This could be a sign of pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus. Because what happens is when that vulva gets swollen, it opens up a pathway to bacteria. And bacteria could get in there when that vulva is nice and swollen and moist and warm, and it's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. So if some bacteria gets in there and then her vulva closes back down, then you get the picture. It could create an infection within her uterus. So it is not terribly common in a younger dog, but as a female gets older, and especially if she has never been bred before, her chances of getting pyometra are increased. So it is treatable as long as you catch it early and get them to the vet. So don't wait around. If you know your female had a heat cycle 6 weeks prior and she starts to feel sick, immediately get her to the vet and have her checked for that. So that is very, very important that you stay diligent with that. I am so in tune with my dogs, that I notice everything. So I, feel that I can catch it if it would happen, God forbid. But just as long as you know your dogs and you can watch out for signs and symptoms, that is the most important thing. And then in closing, I do want to say again, please, 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 if you have a dog that is intact, whether it be a female or a male, I know we're talking about females here today, but if you have a dog that is intact, please do not contribute to the overpopulation of dogs. Have your pet spayed and neutered if you are not going to be diligent in watching your dog or female bitch in season, because that is the last thing anyone wants or needs is more dogs in the world that are unwanted, unneeded, wind up in shelters, and we have enough of that already. So I know that, if you're watching this video, you're probably in that population that is very in tune to your pet and that you will be, responsible. And I want to thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Like I said, I am not a veterinarian. I am not a breeder. I just like to share the knowledge that I do have from doing my research and from being in the dog world for many years. And I thank all of my breeder friends. If you guys are watching, I know that I ask you guys a lot of questions, and I want to thank you because, you know so much. Breeders sometimes I think know more than veterinarians, and they are my go-to when it comes to a lot of different issues. And then of course I listen to my veterinarians as well. But I do, go to the breeders, especially the show breeders, who are really, on top of all of the latest and all of the different research. Your good breeders. They know a lot. So use your breeder as a resource and reach out to them if you have any questions. And I would also urge you to talk to a holistic veterinarian about ovary sparing spay and their thoughts on that, and finding a veterinarian in your area that will do an ovary sparing spay, because that is what I am going to have done. Even when they do get spayed, my plans are to not remove the ovaries. I'm going to keep their ovaries intact. And yes, I will have to deal with heat cycles, but I don't mind that. It's not a big deal for me. But like I said, the only reason why I will be doing spay in the first place is to prevent pyometra, which is the infection of the uterus. And by removing the uterus only, then you are getting rid of that risk. So we will be doing that ovary sparing spay. I will leave a link to a website. It's called the Prometheus, I believe, Foundation. And they give lots of information on ovary sparing spays. And you guys can read that and let me know what you think. But whether or not you choose to do a traditional spay or an ovary sparing spay, I wanted to give you guys some information on just what you can expect from heat cycles and any other information related to this subject. So Stassi is ready for me to stop talking. So I will wrap this up now, and thank you guys for watching. She's behind me. What are you doing, Stassi? And we'll catch you on the next video. Bye guys. You say bye, Stassi. Bye guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? You're the funny girl, huh? You're so funny. Yes, you is. Yes, you is. All right.